All right, all right. Positive energy all the time. Good to see you all. Eat to live, don't live to eat. And here we go with another great situation. We are going to be talking about eating, and we're going to talk about vegan. The word vegan has been uh, has gotten lost in the sauce because there's really no such thing as vegan food. And people have taken the word vegan and are misusing the term, are exchanging the word vegan with plant based, with whole foods, which is a lot of confusion, to be honest with you. The word vegan, young people are trying to eat better, and the word vegan is being misused as a thing. So the word vegan has become a thing, which is the improper use of the word. So we're going to get into that because it's causing a lot of confusion, even with experts that are trying to get our people to eat right. They are misusing the word vegan totally. And some straightening got to go on. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna get into that. We're gonna straighten that out over here, okay? We're gonna get that straight once and for all. All right. Because we need the younger generation that's coming in trying to eat better. We need them to know the facts and not get caught up in things that are not really factual. Right? We want to make sure that doesn't happen. We want to make sure that the younger generation really knows what that really means, okay? That's very important because right now, uh, people are totally like misusing the term vegan, unfortunately. Totally. And it's causing a lot of confusion. It's causing people that don't really know what it means to, it's causing them to say things that are not true, to miscategorize what vegan is. And we got it. We got it. Somebody's got to go and do something about that. That has to be straightened out. So I'm going to make an attempt to get this straight once and for all. Because I just hear it all the time, all the time, all the time. I hear people misuse the term vegan and they say, oh, vegan food this and vegan food that. And I'm not going to eat vegan. Vegan is this and vegan is that. Don't eat vegan, eat plant-based. And it's like, okay, why is this false information being put out here to the community? Like, what is that all about? Like, some of these brothers and sisters, they're supposed to know better. They're supposed to know. Some of these brothers and sisters that, call themselves eating right, they are supposed to know the difference. They're not supposed to be given false information like that. I don't understand it. These are people that's supposed to be knowledgeable, and they're supposed to know better. They're not supposed to be misleading the public and saying incorrect information. Okay? So we're going to get all of that straight once and for all. There is no such thing as vegan food. That is an improper use of the term vegan. And that has to be corrected. Because that is no such thing. When you buy food and it says no salt, there is no such thing as no salt food. Okay. There's no such thing as no salt food. Have you ever heard of no salt food? Have you ever heard that in your life? There's no such thing as no salt food. There's food with no salt in it, but there's no such thing as no salt food. Okay? There's no such thing as no salt food. Now, a vegan is a person who does not eat any food derived from animals and who typically does not use other animal products. So some vegans don't even use animal products. But in terms of eating and food, eating using containing no food or other products derived from animals. So when you have a vegan way of eating, that means that you eat food that has no animal byproducts. That's what it means. When you eat vegan, when you consume vegan, when you eat vegan, when you have a vegan eating plan. A vegan eating plan means that you don't use animal byproducts, which include honey. And so if I use honey, that is not vegan. That is vegetarian. Okay? That is vegetarian. A vegetarian uses animal byproducts. Vegetarians don't eat meat, but vegetarians do eat cheese. Some. It depends on the type of vegetarian you are, right? So a vegetarian does use some animal byproducts. It might be eggs, it might be milk, it might be butter, it might be cheese, it might be honey. Some of them don't use nothing but honey. Some of them don't use nothing but honey and cheese. Some vegetarians use all dairy products. And so you can eat vegan, but not necessarily be a vegan, meaning that every now and then you'll make some type of herb or medicine using honey. So you're not a vegan because that one day or that one week you use some type of honey remedy, but you eat vegan because you don't consume that much. This is very important for people to understand. Now, the word vegan comes from a movement where they wanted to go to the next step because so many of us vegetarians, because we were so health conscious, because when I started, we didn't use the term vegan. We all called ourselves vegetarians. This is 1978 that we called ourselves vegetarian. So when I started, I called myself a vegetarian. And as a vegetarian, I was a vegetarian that was mostly concerned with health. And because I was a vegetarian concerned with health, we decided not to consume milk because milk has too much casein in it. This was what we was teaching. I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you my beliefs now, that we believed that milk had too much casein in it and that milk was designed to raise 1,000-pound calf, and we're not going to be 1,000 pounds. So we felt that milk was not for the consumption of human beings. And we felt that could cause milk and cheese and dairy could cause you to have a lot of mucus, which, like if you live in Chicago in a cold climate, you can end up catching a lot of colds from the phlegm that's left over from the dairy products. So we basically cut dairy products for health reasons. But we still call ourselves vegetarians. So I call myself a vegetarian from 1978, but I was really a vegan and didn't know it. And I did not really find out I was a vegan until sometime in the 80s, sometime in the mid or late 80s. So I didn't find out I was really a vegan until like 87 or something like that, 88, like 10 years later before I found out, oh, I'm a vegan. Why I didn't know. Now the word vegan comes from a bunch of vegetarians that began to clean up how they ate. And so they went to from vegetarian to vegan. Now, this is information nobody's going to tell you. That's why make sure you subscribe to Vegan Intel, because this way you're going to get the real intel, the real information. The word vegan came from the word vegetarian. And the people that was vegetarians that decided to distinguish themselves because we didn't eat dairy products, we took the word vegan from that. Okay? This is the real history of veganism. Veganism was those of us that began to not consume no dairy, so we didn't want to be vegetarians. So the vegan society took the word vegetarian and they took the first three letters from vegetarian and the last two letters from vegetarian and came up with the word vegan. So the word vegan comes from the word vegetarian. They kept the first three letters of vegetarian and the last two letters of vegetarian and created the term vegan. Okay? Support the channel because you're not going to get it raw nowhere else but here. A lot of people talking, but they don't tell you the history. Okay? This is the history of the word vegan. We took the ETARI out and kept the first three alphabets and the last two and created the word vegan. And vegans, the difference between vegans and vegetarians is vegans don't use any animal byproducts. It's real simple. It's real simple. And so there is no such thing as vegan food. There is such thing as a vegan restaurant because a vegan restaurant means what? It's a restaurant that does not serve animal byproducts. So that would be the proper definition. Okay? But if you get some ice cream, it's not vegan ice cream. It's ice cream that's vegan. Okay? There's no such thing as vegan ice cream. It's ice cream that's vegan. It's ice cream that does not have any animal byproducts in it. The reason you would call a restaurant a vegan restaurant because it's an advertisement that the food in the restaurant does not have any animal byproducts in it. So it's not vegan food, it's food without any animal byproducts. That is the proper way to use the term vegan. It's a description, okay? Subscribe to the channel because we're going to have a lot of vegan history over here. Let's take a break and then I'm going to break all that down, right? Okay, so you're going to get a lot of history over here. You're going to get a lot of information. I want to break down the terminology. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, support the channel, right? Now, these are my vitamins. These are from Garden Life, Men Multiple 40 Plus, right? Men Multiple 40 Plus, right? Now, I would advise you, if you do buy Garden Life, men's or women, I would advise you to always buy the 40 plus because they put more nutrients in the 40 plus than the regulars for about the same price. So one day I looked at them and said, well, why buy the regulars? Why not get the extra? It's 120 tablets. Now, these are not vegan vitamins. These are vitamins that are vegan. Okay. So it says, hopefully my camera will zoom in. It says 120 vegan tablets. Okay. 120 vegan tablets. right? That is just there to let me know that I don't have to read all these ingredients. They're letting me know that there's no fish in here. There's no dairy products in here. There's no animal based products in here. So they put vegan on here as a description of what's not in the vitamins. They call it a whole foods multivitamin. All right? They call it a whole food multivitamin, meaning that it's made straight from plants. And then it says 120 vegan tablets. That's why they don't call it a vegan vitamin. They call it a whole food vitamin because it's made from plants. They say vegan tablets only as a way for the customers to know that there is no animal byproducts in these vitamins. So that's what the word vegan is used as a description as to what's not in a product. That's it. It's an exclusionary word used to exclude. Okay? So when you go buy some cookies, they're just cookies. And then if it says vegan, that's just telling you that these are cookies, but these are cookies with no milk, no eggs. No, and that's all that means. They're not vegan cookies. They are cookies that are vegan. Like there's cookies that are gluten-free. There's no gluten-free cookies. It's just cookies. Gluten-free. It's just cookies. No animal byproducts, vegan. So always remember that the term vegan is exclusive from animal byproducts. So this meat is just meat, but it's vegan because it has no animal byproduct. You can see where they're calling it plant-based because it's made from plants. So plant-based, that term tells what it's made from, and the term vegan explains what's not in it. So the difference between plant-based and vegan, they're basically the same word, but the difference is plant-based is describing what's in it, what it's made from, and vegan describes what's not in it. So it's like the opposite of the same thing, basically. So it's a way to say the same thing, but from two different angles, basically. That plant-based is describing what it's made with, and vegan describes what it's not made with. Same thing on two different sides. Then whole foods describes if it's processed first. Okay? So this would be ice cream with no animal byproducts. So it would be vegan and it would be considered whole. It would be considered plant-based because it's made from plants. It wouldn't be considered whole foods because it's gone through a process and then put together. So you might take a bunch of processed items and put them together to make a plant-based uh, item. So there's a difference between me making an item. I might got vegan cheese in it. That's going to be processed, so that wouldn't be considered whole food. A whole food would be me making something from nothing but plants that are not processed until they are put together, or just eating the plant straight. So whole food eating is like a salad, like vegetables, beans, rice would be whole foods. When you sit down and you have beans and rice, wild rice, celery, you're eating the whole food. You're eating collard greens or you're eating kale. You're cooking whole foods. So whole foods is mostly when you just cooking the plant straight. When you're just eating almonds, when you're eating pecans, that would be considered whole foods because it's a whole pecan. Now, if you take the pecan and you blend it up and you add some maple syrup and you add some, some other coconut and all that, that would be considered plant-based because it's no longer whole, but it's still healthy. It's just a description of one is processed, one is not processed. Now, processed foods are not unhealthy. It depends on what it's processed with. And so when you hear people say don't eat processed foods, but then they go and they take a bunch of stuff and put it in a juicer or put it in a blender, that's processed. It went through the process of you blending it up. And so a lot of these people, they're not teaching right and exact. The only true 100% whole foods is when you just cook it and just eat it like that. But if you make a protein shake, if you make your own milk, blend up your own soda to make your own milk, make your own protein powder and blend it up, that's processed. That's processed. That's not whole foods. The whole foods would be if you ate all the stuff that you blended up. If you ate it before you blend it up, would be whole foods. Soon as I blend up the almonds, that's processed. So processed foods are not bad for you. If you make all natural jelly, that's processed. It's not bad. You make all natural jam, that's not bad for you. That's processed. Processed. What is a process? Okay? Since when the word process changed? Process is a process. It's a means of doing something. You send it through a process. And so technically, the only unprocessed foods would be raw. Technically, the only unprocessed food would be raw kale, raw coconuts, raw peaches. That would technically, if you really use the word processed foods would be foods that went through no process. Technically. So the word whole foods, plant-based, and vegan are definitely being totally misused and is totally confusing. Facts. That there is not being used clearly And it's not, those words are not being used in a way that's right and exact. Point blank, period. So what's my point? My point is, don't get into those words. Those words is for nuts. Okay? Those words are for nuts. Don't worry about those words. Don't worry about vegan. Don't worry about whole food. Don't worry about plant-based. Those words, until they get it together, they are totally misusing those words. Totally. Those words are being misused and causing confusion. Because you can have vegan snacks that are made with 100% whole food ingredients, and then you can have vegan snacks that's made where they add a bunch of other fillers and stuff that's not necessarily it's not an animal, but it's not necessarily healthy, right? And so it's very important to understand that vegan does not mean healthy. You must remember that. Vegan does not mean healthy. Vegan means no animal byproducts. Okay? Vegan can be healthy, right? But not necessarily is. Because the whole gamut, if you take everything that's not using any animal byproduct, then all of that is vegan. So when people say vegan food is no good, that's wrong. Because there's a lot of different types of vegan food. So you can't lump everything that does not have an animal byproduct, and you can't lump all that together and teach people that vegan is no good, because now you're misusing the word vegan. Because all vegan means is no animal byproduct, and some foods with no animal byproducts are excellent, and some things they make with no animal byproducts are not. So you can't lump the word vegan together. Okay? You can't do that, because there's a big difference between these products that are vegan and this. This is vegan. But this has artificial color and artificial flavors. But artificial color and artificial flavors are not animal-based. So if you're eating a chemical, technically it could be vegan, because all vegan means is no animal byproduct. It doesn't mean no poison. It doesn't mean no artificial color. It doesn't mean no artificial flavors. Artificial colors and artificial flavors aren't animals, not made from animals most times. So this is how people that's not good teachers are teaching you all wrong. And they're lumping everything together that's vegan and not explaining to you that vegan doesn't mean healthy. Vegan just means no animal byproduct. But if you're eating healthy, like Yaki, he is still a vegan. This is why I got to talk to him, because he said he don't eat vegan food. There's no such thing as vegan food. Yaki is a vegan. If he's not consuming any animal byproducts, he's a vegan. So he's kind of teaching that a vegan is this. This is not a vegan, because there's no such thing as vegan candy. There's candy that is vegan. Vegan does not mean healthy. Vegan doesn't mean healthy. Vegan just lets you know there's no animal byproducts, because you have two types of vegans. You have vegans like myself that started at the health food store. And then you have animal rights vegans who don't eat for health, but they don't want to consume animals, therefore animal rights. So an animal rights vegan will eat this because they're not into it for health. They just want to make sure that no animals are abused to be in their candy. Okay? And they are just as much a vegan as I am. But they're a different type of vegan. They're only concentrating on no animal byproducts. So you can exclude animal byproducts and still eat unhealthy. This is why there's some confusion when people say, well, I know vegans get sick. That's because those are animal rights vegans and they trying to eat burgers and fries. No, honey is an animal byproduct. Honey is vegetarian. Honey is an animal byproduct. That's why we use agave or maple syrup. Vegans use maple syrup mostly. We don't use honey. As a vegan, and so anytime I use honey, I'm eating vegetarian. So I'm not a vegan 100% every day of my life, because if there's some type of medicine I could make and I need honey, then I will use honey, which is an animal byproduct. It's not actually an animal. So I would use honey, but I wouldn't eat bees. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't eat the actual bee. But mostly I'm vegan because if I got to choose between honey and maple syrup, I always get maple syrup. I don't get honey. I don't get honey. Honey, I get rarely. I just bought two things of honey. I haven't had honey in a year. I bought two things of honey because I'm going to make this medicine that I need honey for it. But that's it, because I'm not an ethical vegan. Animal rights vegan will never use. I'm not an animal rights vegan. I'm a health food store vegan. I became a vegan at the health food store. Okay? It's very important for you to know that. Veganism is a way of living that seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or other purposes. A vegan way of eating excludes all animal products, including meat, dairy, eggs, and honey. The Vegan Society defines veganism as a way of living that extends beyond diet to encompass a broader philosophy of animal rights. And so it was created by the Vegan Society, are the ones that took the first three letters in vegetarian and the last two letters in vegetarian, made up the term vegan, and then they wanted to do that for animal rights. This was done in Europe, right? Exclusion of animal products. Vegans avoid all foods derived from animals, including meat, beef, pork, poultry, fish, etc., dairy, milk, cheese, yogurt, etc., eggs, and honey. Focus on plant-based food. Vegan way of eating are rich in fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. Potential health benefits. Well-planned vegan meals can be healthy and may offer benefits like reduced risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancers. It's important to ensure adequate intake of certain nutrients like vitamin B12, iron, calcium, and omega 3 fatty acids, which are often found in animal products through fortified foods or supplements. And so we use other ways to get our omega 3s. Okay. We use other ways to get our omega 3s, our calcium, our iron. We realize we can get our omega 3s from plants, sea plants. So we start realizing that there's plants in the sea. There's chlorella, there's spirulina, there's sea moss that we could get all of our nutrients from in a higher form than you can get from animals. I got an interesting story. I was in Hawaii. I lived in the mountains. And they had this black seaweed. It's dry, it's black. So we bought some of this seaweed and we crushed it up and cooked our vegetables. So this was in the 80s, like 85, 80, 85, 86. So I'm eating my food and I got this seaweed in it. And I'm telling the brothers and sisters up in the mountains with me, I said, I tasted this somewhere before. I said, I tasted this. So I keep eating, I keep tasting this seaweed, and I said, I've had this before. Where have I tasted this seaweed before? And after about 30 minutes, the light bulb came in. You know what the seaweed tasted like? Cod liver oil that my mother used to give me as a child, which is nasty kind of when you're a child. And that's when my intelligence level went up to a whole nother degree, because I'm thinking, okay, our parents gave us cod liver oil out of the codfish liver. How did that oil get in the codfish liver? Because the codfish is eating seaweed. And when the codfish eat the sea plants, its liver gathers up the oil, and then you're going into the codfish liver to get cod liver oil when you could just eat the same thing that the codfish been eating. That was a light on for me. Because the things you're trying to get from the animals are getting them from the plants. Cows do not eat animals. Cows are getting all that protein in their body and all that nutrients to be that big from plants. Gorillas, plants. Elephants, plants. Giraffes, plants. So why let the cow eat all this corn and all these, because they feed them a lot of vegetables and fruit. When they have bad fruit, apples is rotten and stuff like that, they give all that stuff to the pigs and the cows. Corn and stuff, the stuff that's not fit for the market. So why have the animals eat the plants, get all this nutrition, and then you getting secondhand nutrition from the plants? Horses don't eat meat. All of the biggest, strongest animals are basically vegetarians, vegans. So that seaweed is the same seaweed in cod liver oil. So why take cod liver oil when you can just get the seaweed? When you can just get the spirulina, you can get the chlorella, you can get the seaweed, you can get the dulse, you can get the kelp, you can get the sea plants. So as plant-based vegans, we went from land plants to sea plants. And when we went to sea plants, that was a whole nother level of health. When you start getting into kelp and dulse and spirulina and chlorella, I take chlorella now. I take chlorella tablets. All of these plants got everything we need. Got flax, chia seeds, hemp seeds, got every nutrition you can dream of is in the plants at a higher level. With my other way I ate before I changed, I wasn't getting much nutrition. They say protein, 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 but I was eating McDonald's. Okay, I was eating French fries. I wasn't getting no nutrition from that. When I was a child, I started getting these white spots on my nail. My mother took me to the doctor. I was anemic. I ate like a pig as a kid, and I was anemic. I had low iron. A lot of meat eaters got iron deficiency, vitamin C deficiency, vitamin D deficiency, calcium deficiencies, a lot of them. That's a fact. Meat eaters have deficiencies, have nutrition deficiencies. I'm telling you. When my mother could have been just giving me a little maple blackstrap molasses in some water, or put it in something where I don't know what's in there, put a little bit in our Kool-Aid, we'll never know what's in there. We would have been getting iron like that. She could have made some lemonade, put a little bit of blackstrap molasses in it. It'll be a little darker color, but you won't know what's in it. You won't taste it. And we could have been getting all the iron we could dream of. If you ladies, now you got it. Now iron makes you get constipated, but ladies, all you ladies should be taking just a little bit of blackstrap molasses at least twice a week. Spread it out like Monday and Thursday. Ladies, you ladies should also be taking a plant-based calcium supplement if you got babies. My son's mother, when she had our first baby, her wrist was sore. And it never really got better. Then she had my second son, and her wrist was really sore. You know what that was? That was a calcium deficiency. But these was old school days, so we didn't have all the information. If I knew what I knew now, I could have cleaned that up for her. But we didn't know. My life becoming plant-based in 1978, because I've been plant-based now. I've been a vegan now for 47 years, going on 48. And so this has been a learning experience as we're finding out more and more things for nutrition. But don't let people fool you with the word vegan. There's no such thing as vegan food. This is not vegan meat. This is meat that's vegan. Now you got to understand that anything that you make like that is meat. Meat is not just cows. Meat is not animals. The food you eat is considered meat. So when you bite an apple, you are eating the meat of the apple, the meat of the watermelon. Back down south, they would say, give me some of that watermelon meat. That's what they used to call it. Get you some of this cantaloupe meat. They called, all that stuff was considered meat. Anything that was like a lump. So like an orange wouldn't be considered meat because it's just little pieces. But the apple would be considered meat. The watermelon, that would be considered meat. Anything that was big that you can get off of the fruit, that would be considered meat. When you bite the peach, you was considered eating the meat of the peach. Anything could be a burger. A hamburger is a burger made from beef. But a burger is anything you make into a patty. So if you make some bulgur and you put it into a patty, that's a burger. If you blend up some mushrooms and onions and put into a patty. That's a burger. A burger is a patty. It doesn't have to be meat. So that's why you can have a turkey burger, a hamburger, a chicken burger, because the burger is just a patty. So you can have a plant-based burger. Burger does not mean meat. Burger means patty. That's all it means. It's a German term, if I'm not mistaken, for a patty. Burger does not mean meat. So when you eat a plant-based burger, you're not emulating a hamburger. You're just eating a burger made out of whatever yours is made out of. We used to make bulgur burgers. You can make lentil burgers. You can make black bean burgers. You can make all kind of burgers. Just go make your beans or whatever and make some patties. Maybe blend it up with some onions or whatever you want in it. Put some spice on it. Making a patty. Fry that bad boy. And you pop it or bake it. And you got a burger. Especially ladies, experiment. And then when you call your little children come in, say, come in and eat your burger. Don't tell them that's it. Especially your little son that be eat like a hog, he gonna knock it back. You're like, you like it? Yeah, man, I was good. Now, if you don't like it, it's not because, if you don't like it, it's not because of what it's made from. It wasn't made right for him to like it. So you gotta maybe change it up or use something different. That's why he don't like it. But he ain't gonna know a burger, all you tell him is a burger. That's all you tell him. So I just wanted to clear that up because people is ragging on food that is vegan, but food that is vegan is a great alternative. There's nothing wrong with getting you some Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I'll get some Ben & Jerry's ice cream, have it in the refrigerator, and when I make my protein shake with my pea milk, and I put my protein powder in it, sometimes I have my own protein powder I put in there too, my little creatine, I'll take a scoop of Ben & Jerry's ice cream and put it in there and blend it up because I'm looking for any type of nutritional boost. And that nutritional boost, when you work out, you're going to burn that off. You're going to burn whatever's sweet in there off. You're going to burn that chocolate off. You're going to burn, that's going to give you a boost to work out. So a lot of times, the things you're eating that are sweet, the reason they're no good, you're eating too much of it, so it's driving up your sugar, and you're not working out. So if you want to get you some Newman's cookies, which are the best cookies in the world, the best way to consume sweets, right? The best way to consume sweets is to charge yourself. Charge yourself. Charge yourself for the cookies. In other words, if you're not willing to work out, don't get them. And you can use that to get yourself in shape. Charge yourself. Do so much exercise to get that. When I was in the county jail, a brother We had just been working out. We had just came from the gym. And our brother went, he went and got a bunch of cookies and stuff. So I'm thinking we trying to get in shape. So I asked him, I said, dang, bro, you going to eat all them cookies and stuff? He said, Pharaoh, when you working out, you're going to burn this off. He said, if you're working out, he said, Joe, you see, we go to the gym. You see, when we come back to the deck, we work out. We constantly doing push-ups. We constantly doing calisthenics. He said, if you're doing that, that stuff's just going to help you build muscle. I said, wow, that's interesting. He was like, yeah, that's going to do nothing but build muscle. That's all it's going to do. It's going to build muscle. It's going to make you stronger. You got to charge yourself. The problem is you're eating that stuff and you're just sitting down and you're eating it back to back. If you're exercising and you care about your working out, then it's going to be limited on how much of that stuff you even want, because you're not going to want to work out hard and then turn around and mess up your workout. When your workout becomes serious, that's what makes you cut back on the bad food. You'll never cut back on the bad food if you don't exercise. Exercise is the key. Exercise is what gives you discipline, because you become so interested in your exercise and now you're not too much interested in anything that's going to ruin the exercise. You're not interested in it. And so you got to work out. You got to get in shape. You got to eat right. But don't let people use these words, man, vegan, I'm not vegan, I'm alkaline. You know, if you're alkaline, you're a vegan. You're a vegan. If you're alkaline, you're vegan. I mean, I don't know what nobody's telling you all. They're giving you wrong information. They're making you fight within the movement and causing confusion, and new people that come into the movement are going to be 100% confused. That's all they're doing, is confusing the people. That's it. They're confusing the people with all those terms: alkaline, plant-based, whole food, vegan. All they're doing is confusing the people. That's it. The people are going to be totally confused, are not going to know what to do. They're not going to know how to eat. Because somebody coming into this, they're not going to understand all of that weirdo stuff. And a lot of times you're listening to people that won't even stick with the program. And I've been saying this for a long time. They've got to split this stuff up. They've got to have levels to this. the way they're dealing with it, they're not creating any levels for people to come into and change the way they eat and follow the levels. When people coming into this, they need transitional foods, period. A young mother that's trying to get her children to eat better and trying to take away their cookies and try to take away all that candy and stuff, she got to replace it first with a more healthier version and cut back the dosage, how much they giving them. Not giving them 10, 12 cookies, just give them 3. Get rid of the Oreos and grab the Newmans. And your children will eat these and will not know that now they're getting a little organic sugar. They're getting a little more natural version of the same thing so that they can transition. You have to be able to transition the children. Or if you're a man, you got to be able to transition your wife. Or if you're a wife, you got to be able to transition your husband. You got to be a way to get him to kind of taste it and like a couple things. So you might want to experiment with these products to see if you can make him some spaghetti and meatballs and use one of these to make the meatballs to get him off of the other one. You can't just talk of going from how we eating to expert. That's not going to work. You're not going to be able to try to get black people or any people in this country, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, if you're trying to get them to eat better, you're not going to be able to get them to go from 0 to 100. You're going to have to transition them. The younger they are, the easier it is to transition. The longer they've been eating a certain way, the harder it is for them to transition. We need transitional food. I support all of these products that help people transition. And I reject anybody criticizing these products that are very much necessary to get the people off the stuff they're on now and to eat better. 100%. The plant-based burgers are a life sentence for people that's addicted to burgers and addicted to McDonald's and Burger King and all of that. When I was coming up, veggie burgers was nasty. I said all the time, I wish we would have had Beyond Burgers. It would have made my transition way better. I wouldn't have had to transition off of fish fillet sandwiches. I transitioned from McDonald's fish fillet. I use fish fillet sandwiches to get off burgers and to get off pork and to get off barbecue and to get off steak sandwiches. McDonald's, I changed the way I eat from McDonald's. That's a fact. I'm eating so many different things. The only way I could get rid of all, I had to pick one thing and eat that to help me get off everything else. So people say, so you changed the way you eat off of McDonald's fish fillet? Yeah, so now I don't got to get a Whopper. I don't got to get a Big Mac. I don't got to get no rib tips. I don't got to get no barbecue chicken. You just have to understand how many things we're asking people to give up. We're asking people to give up a lot of things. When we're telling people to get off dairy, you're easily talking about 25 items. It's not just dairy. You're telling them to give up their hot dog buns, their hamburger buns, the bread they use, and all the products they got dairy in it. That's not no simple, that's not easy, that's very hard. That's why if you want to eat better, you got to get the easiest way to become a vegan and let an expert show you how to do it. I've been plant-based now for 47. When the first come, it'll be 48 years. And I can help you change the way you eat because you got to go slow. It don't make no sense to rush and fall off. Go slow and stay on, however long it take you. No sense in rushing and failing. A slow success is better than a quick rush and fail. Because every time you're cutting something, you are getting healthier. Every time you eliminate something, you're getting stronger. You're getting healthier. There's less stuff that your body's got to process. Okay? So don't let people trick you and tell you there's such thing as vegan food. There is no such thing as vegan food. Vegan food does not exist. There is food that is vegan. That's what it is. And you can customize your food to make it vegan. You can go to these places and tell them how to make it so you don't got all this artificial stuff and all this in your food. It's a process. So be careful when you hear people throw the word vegan around. It's unfortunate that some of these experts with eating are misleading our people by misusing the word vegan. They're supposed to know better. Yeah, I seen a brother say, I don't eat vegan. And I'm like, what is eating vegan? He said, I don't eat vegan food. I'm like, bro, you're supposed to know better than that. There ain't no such thing as vegan food. Why would you tell people that? You're telling people you don't eat vegan food, but you don't eat animal byproducts. You're a vegan. You're a vegan by the true definition of vegan. If you don't eat animal byproducts, you are a vegan. Because that's the definition of a vegan. So you say, no, I'm not vegan, I'm alkaline. Bro, you're an alkaline vegan? No, I'm not vegan, I'm whole foods. Bro, you a vegan. You're a whole food vegan. If you're not consuming animal byproducts, you are a vegan. Period. By the definition of vegan. The definition of vegan is you don't eat no animal byproducts. Some vegans don't wear any animal byproducts because they're animal rights, and I like them to divide that. I wish they divide animal rights from vegan. I don't like animal rights and vegan being mixed together. You should be animal rights. And so you're animal rights, so you eat vegan because you're animal rights. And vegan is for health reasons. Veganism did start with animal rights. That's a fact. The vegan society was about animal rights, and that started in Europe. But veganism in America started at the health food store, not the animal rights store. And that's my beef. Because that started at the health food store in America. That's where veganism was born. And in America, right, that started at the juice bar. Okay? Veganism started, vegetarianism and veganism started at the health food store. That's where it started. And that's a fact. Anybody can argue that, they would lose. This whole lifestyle started based off of health food at the health food store. This is what started in the United States. This is the root. This is where everybody was at. Everybody was at the health food store. There was no Whole Foods. There was no Whole Foods. In Chicago, there was Southtown over on 95th. They're still there. This is one of the places in Chicago that built the vegan lifestyle. You understand? You're 100% correct. Transitional foods is the easiest way. For my generation, Robert, we didn't need transitional foods because our parents was from Alabama and Mississippi. So because our parents was from Alabama and Mississippi, Robert, we did not really grow up our whole life with McDonald's and potato chips and stuff. I didn't get into that until like 6th, 7th grade. So because from a baby to 6th grade, we grew up on black eyed peas, fried chicken, greens, collard greens, mustard greens, cabbage, corn on the cob, sweet potatoes. We grew up on country food, vegetables. So I was raised on vegetables. You're only going to get, if you're a kid, you're only going to get a drumstick and a wing. And your mama going to say, put that meat down and eat your food. She didn't consider your drumstick and your chicken wing food. She considered the cornbread, the greens, the black eyed peas, the corn on the cob, the cabbage. Your mama considered that food. And she would say, put that meat down and eat your food. And so for my generation, it was easy to transition because we just went back to grandmama's food. So for me, when I started going vegan, I just went back to corn on the cob, cabbage, string beans, collard greens, mustard greens. I went back to that. And then stores like this, I would go to because they had the first plant-based margarine that didn't have no dairy in it. Because you got to understand, you had butter and then you had margarine, and margarine was plant-based, but margarine still had some milk in it. That was the difference between butter and margarine. Margarine was not made from just milk. Margarine was made from other ingredients with a little maybe dairy in it. So they started coming out with the non-dairy margarine that we could put inside of our baked potato or our sweet potato or on our mashed potatoes or something like that. So for my generation, Robert, we transitioned back to how granddaddy ate. And we just didn't have the meat. And we learned how to make cornbread. It took a little while to get the bread together, but everything else was simple. Black eyed peas is black eyed peas. And we didn't have sea salt, so we used kelp. So we used to get our food have a little salty taste with kelp, which is very nutritious. It's from out to sea. So it was an easier transition. But for people coming up that's born, I'm born 1958, people born in like 68, like 78, they didn't grow up eating like I did as a little kid. They grew up eating like I did in high school because I ate two different ways. I ate the Alabama way and then I ate the Chicago way. So when I transitioned, I went back to the Alabama way. So it made it easy for us to go vegetarian. That's what we called it. We didn't know it was vegan. It was easy for us to go vegetarian because we just went back to Alabama food. We just went back to all the vegetables that our parents used to cook. So it was easy. We would go to the store, me and my elder Peter and us, and we would go to the store and we would get some corn on the cob. We'd get some cabbage or some greens. We might get some rice. We get some brown rice, and we get, and then we'd go cook a old school meal, which tasted excellent because we was raised on it. We was raised on black eyed peas. We was raised on collard greens. We was raised on cabbage. We was raised on corn on the cob. We was raised on string beans. Back then, you could still get good string beans. I don't know what happened. You can't find string beans anymore that pop, snap when you can't find those, but we could still find those when I transitioned. In 1978, all that food was still around. So it was an easier transition because I grew up with a lot of plants, eating a lot of plants. So it was an easier transition than it would be for my children now, where we don't eat. We haven't been eating like that no more. We switched over from potato salad to mac and cheese. Black people did not eat mac and cheese in the 60s. That's a fact. Potato salad replaced mac and cheese. Anybody older will tell you. Ask anybody older, did they eat mac and cheese? They'll be like, no. Mac and cheese is a 1980 thing from the 80s. Nobody made mac and cheese like that, barely. The replacement for mac and cheese was potato salad. And black folks used to say, don't eat just anybody's potato salad. It was like a thing, like, don't eat that. When we go over here, don't eat the potato salad. Because the potato salad, if it's not made right, it can make everybody really sick. So there was always a warning about the potato salad. This is black history for sure. But we was real heavy on the cabbage, collard greens, mustard greens, string beans, black eyed peas, sweet potatoes, baked potatoes, or mashed potatoes. Black people ate that heavy, a lot. A lot. I mean, you always going to either get some corn on the cob and string beans. You're going to get that almost every meal, almost. And you're going to get the cabbage, or you're going to get the collard greens, or the mustard greens, or the turnip greens. You're going to get one of those four. You're going to get the baked potato, or you're going to get the baked potato or the sweet potato. You're always going to get those were the basics. So it's a lot of plants. Your mama gonna make one chicken. Her and daddy gonna get the big pieces, and y'all gonna get the drumstick and the wing. That's it. You're not getting another piece of meat because it ain't no more. They didn't cook meat like that. They didn't cook a lot of meat. The only time they cooked a lot of meat was on the 4th of July. 4th of July, Thanksgiving or Christmas is the only time people used to cook a lot of meat, especially Black Americans. Other than that, Black Americans did not cook no lot of meat. They cooked a whole big old pot, though, of collard greens or mustard greens and stuff like that. A whole lot of baked potatoes. That stuff would go in the refrigerator. That would be the leftovers. A whole lot of black eyed peas. And they was from the South, and moved up like Chicago, so they couldn't cook certain things they ate down south because the newer generation, me and my sister, we didn't like it. So mommy always tried to make sure that she didn't cook nothing that you don't like that she grew up on. She might make a little bit of that for herself, but they tried to see what we like, and then that's what they cook. And the one thing is, everybody liked corn on the cob, because if you haven't had corn on the cob from the 60s and the 70s, you haven't had corn. If you haven't had corn where you bite it and it squirt out, juice squirt out, you you haven't had corn on the cob. You know, this I don't even eat corn nowadays. I don't know what that stuff is. And it's a shame that this young generation haven't had like real corn. So that's where the term corn fed come from. Because corn make you strong like a horse. When they ruined the corn, they kind of ruined the American standard diet. Just became even sadder because we don't even have really good corn like that. On the side note, switch to purple cabbage. I still eat the green cabbage, but anytime you see purple cabbage, get that. Get that. It has a lot more nutritional value in it. All right? So just as long as you know, there's no such thing as vegan food. Vegan is just a description that you don't consume animal byproducts. That's it. There's no such thing as vegan food. If you eat an apple, that's vegan. You know what I'm saying? If you get up and you get up in the morning and you eat a cantaloupe, you just had a vegan meal. If lunch come and you eat a couple slices of watermelon, you just had a vegan meal. You had a meal with no animal byproduct. So that's why I don't like the term vegan foods, because technically, if there was such thing as vegan foods, then fruits and vegetables would be vegan foods. Any food. So don't use that. Say foods that are vegan. The word vegan means exclude. That's all you got to remember. Vegan doesn't mean include. Vegan means exclude. It means no animal byproduct. That's all it means. That's all it means. All right. So thanks for joining. Make sure you support the channel, because I'm gonna need support wherever I can get it from. These type of conversations aren't really respected. They took down my whole vegan intel on TikTok. A lot of plant-based people are losing their accounts. They're looking for anything to say that's false information. So they troll us looking for any type of false information, because we're hurting certain industries, which we're not trying to do. We're really trying to help industries, because if you're in the food industry, I'm helping you switch over. You need to switch over and get the new money. It's inevitable, because the health situation is going to demand it. And so, you're going to have to make better cereal, because Kennedy is shutting things down, right? And so the smart companies, they're doing it. You know what I'm saying? They're switching over. And they're making better food. They're switching. Okay? And so I would advise the companies to switch now while they can. That would be my advice to the companies, because a big switch is going on. And It doesn't make any sense to fight it. It doesn't. There's a big switch coming, and to all of the companies that's watching me, that's hating or whatever, switch over and get your money. It's inevitable. Okay? You see, they switched over. They switched over quick. And all these companies are going to switch over. They have to. They're all going to switch. They're all going to change, because if they don't, they're going to go out of business. And so the change is coming. The change is coming because the medical system is going to get overran. So the better ketchup is coming, the better cereal's coming, the better food is coming. There's no getting around it. There's no getting around it. The better food is coming. There's a change coming. They're going to change the ice cream. They're going to change the meats. They're going to change the milks. They're going to change everything. And the smart companies need to get in where they fit in, or just get ran over, because the change is coming quick. Okay? People are using different products now. The old products are getting pushed to the side. And these stores are starting to carry newer and newer products. Okay? They're starting to make changes. Now, before we go, I'm going to show you this list. These are the different types of so-called vegetarian diets. You got lacto-vegetarian. That excludes meat, fish, poultry, and eggs, but includes dairy products. So the lactose vegetarians, they still do milk and stuff like that. Then you got the ovo-vegetarian. They exclude meat, poultry, fish, and dairy products, but they still eat eggs. Then you got the lacto-ovo-vegetarian. They exclude meat, fish, and poultry, but they include dairy products and eggs. Then you got the vegans that exclude meat, poultry, fish, eggs, and dairy products, and foods that contain these products. Then you also have the pescatarian. They exclude meat and poultry, but sometimes they include dairy and eggs and include fish. So changing over, the pescatarian is a good way to go. The pescatarian is a really good way to begin to change and just do dairy, eggs, and fish and a bunch of vegetables. That's a good way to go. And then go from pescatarian to lacto. In between these, start cleaning everything else up and make the transition. But if you really want to know in specific how to do it, go to www.veganintel.com and get the easiest way to become a vegan. And then this will show you step by step on how you can eat better in an easy way, so you can take your time and do it right. And this allows for mistakes. That's why this is the best way. Because I got my way set up for you to make mistakes. So I got it. So you go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. You mess up, you go back to step 3. You don't go to step 4 and mess up and go all the way back to 1. If you go step 1, step 2, step 3, and you mess up, you go back to step 2. You get it together, then you try 3. You mess up again, go back to 2. You wait, you go back to 3, you go back to 2. Eventually you're gonna go to 3 and you're gonna make it. Then you go to 4. If you go to 4 and you mess up, you go back down to 3. You stay there for a while, you try 4 again. Boom, you make it. Then you go to 5. Same thing. When you go to 5, you mess up, you just go back to 4. Back up to 5, back to 4, back to 5, back to 4, until you can stay at 5. So it's foolproof because you really never mess up. As long as you only go back once, you still winning. So it's good for your mind. I help you keep the feeling of success. I don't teach you where there's no feeling of failure. And this is psychologically good for you to not feel no failure, Danielle. You'll never feel no failure. If you make a mistake, go back 1, Danielle. That's it. Go back 1. And then wait. And then take that step. And then it's foolproof. It stops you from feeling that you didn't accomplish it and then you just give up. Because the whole time, Danielle, right now you're getting healthier. Right now. And then you can begin to change everything while you're going. So even before you vegan, clean up your ketchup. Clean up your mustard. Mustard is mustard. Ketchup is ketchup. So you could clean up your mustard. Clean up your ketchup. Clean up your salt. And get better salt. Okay? Clean up your salt. Right? And get better salt. Right now, switch your salt now. Get this. This is the best salt you can get. You're going to know when you get it and go in it because it's going to still be like moist, like it just came out the sea. It has none of those metals and stuff that a lot of the salt got metal and stuff in it. It's not what you think. This is the cleanest and the best salt. And I've watched a bunch of experts that did lives or did presentations on salt, and this was always number 1. This is the number 1 salt. You're going to love it. And when you get in and open it and you grab it, you're going to be like, this is it, because it's got like a moisture to it. I can't explain it. Get the Baja Gold mineral salt. Minerals. So you're still getting minerals. And you're not going to use as much because it's real 100% natural salt. Okay? Exceptional flavor. It's got the trace mineral. And it's unrefined and solar dry. It's not dried in the machine. It's dry with the sun. That's why it still has this like moisture to it. I've got a whole bunch of sea salt that I bought before I found out about this, and the other sea salt, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. You know what I'm saying? This is the one right here. It's unbelievable. When you open it, and you're going to know. You're going to like, oh, yeah, this is it. It's got some kind of moisture to it. It's not wet, but it seems like it's wet. I can't explain it. It seems like it's wet. It's unbelievable. You know, switch over your margarine. You can get the one with soy to soy free. The real salt is got a lot of those salts. Baby Lane got like toxins in them from the way they get it. It's got toxins in it. So a lot of those salts, the way they mine it, the salt is good, but the way they mine it, there's poisons and chemicals in it. So that's why I don't use no other salt but this, because the other salts, this is the one that has no chemicals. Those other salts, Baby Lane, they got chemicals and stuff. I swear to God, because the pink Himalayan, especially they say the pink Himalaya is full of like toxic waste, like that's right. They say it's full of toxic waste that's like in the area where they mine it at. So the places where they're mining it is toxic or got like chemicals in the soil or chemicals in the ocean. So like when they mining it, they're automatically getting the chemicals too. Right? You know what I'm saying? Watch. Look. We bring the intel over here. See? See? See, these are things they don't want to tell you. Salt mining can introduce toxic chemicals into the environment and pose health risks to workers and nearby communities. These chemicals often present as impurities in the salt or released during mining process include heavy metals like arsenic, mercury, cadmium, and lead, as well as radon and other radioactive material. The release of these substances can contaminate soil, water, and air, potentially impacting aquatic life, migratory birds, and human populations. Heavy metals like arsenic, mercury. Hey, I'm telling you, the way they mine it is no good. And it be in the salt. It be in the salt. I'm telling you, this is Vegan Intel. I'm bringing you the real over here, right? So make sure you tell everybody subscribe. I'm bringing you the real. Here you go right here again. Some studies and reports indicate the presence of certain toxic chemicals in salt products, including heavy metals, aluminum, microplastics, additives, and iodized salt. Hey, look it up. Look, these have been found in various salt, including sea salt, Himalayan pink salt, and rock salt. Lead, lead, mercury, and cadmium, arsenic. These have been found in various salts, including sea salt, Himalayan pink salt, and rock salt. Lead can affect the nervous system. Mercury can impair cognitive function. And cadmium and arsenic are considered probable carcinogens. Aluminum detected in many salt products and is a concern as a neurotoxin. Sources: contamination can come from natural deposits in mine salts or environmental pollution in sea salts, including industrial waste and plastic. Microplastic, tiny plastic particles have been found in salt, especially sea salt, linked to ocean pollution. Sources: breakdown of large plastic, wastewater, and atmospheric transport. Health effects are still being researched. They don't even know what it's doing. Additives in iodized salt, potassium iodine or iodate, are added to prevent iodine deficiency. Some table salts may contain synthetic chemicals and anti-caking agents. Important consideration: level of these substances in salts are generally low, and the primary health concern with salt is often high sodium intake. There are regulations for heavy metals in food, but these vary. Some brands like Baja Gold sea salt test below regulatory standards. That's the one I just showed you. I'm trying to tell you. Man, throw that stuff away. You don't know what's in it, Danielle. Throw it away. Throw it away. Unless you're going to use it for outside, pour it where you got ice or something. If you just want to use it, but don't take no chances. Don't take no chances, because basically, Danielle, they telling us they don't know what's in it. So especially Danielle, no woman, you open down there, you open in the back, and you open in that spot. Now think about it, Danielle. You sitting in there, and that water going up in you. It's going in your back side, and it's Think about it, Danielle. It's going inside. I could see if you took a bath and there was no holes for it to go through, but for a woman, you wide open. Your womb is going in your womb. Think about it. Like even men, we got a little bitty hole in that thing. It's going to go in that little hole if you sit in it. Just think about it. The bottom line, Danielle, you can't trust them. They bogus. They do anything for $1. And guess what, Danielle? And it's going to get worse because they constantly mining. They constantly spilling pollutants everywhere. So our water, our food, and everything is going to get worse. So we're not even eating just to be healthy. We're eating to detox. We eating certain foods to detox what we got from the other food. That's just a fact, y'all. We eating and our food got to clean itself. Can you believe that? Our food got to clean itself. Every day we taking in trash. We breathing in trash every day. So we not just eating to get healthy. We eating to fight all this garbage we taking in. So that's why I said because you eating right don't mean you gonna live no long time. Because the whole environment is toxic. So you're not just eating to eat good, you're eating to fight cancer and everything else. We surrounded by cancer. On the real, I'm gonna keep it real. The main reason we eating is to fight all this garbage that was just going in our body. So that's why we trying to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables to go in there and clean us out because we constantly dirty. There's no eating to be clean. Nah, we're not eating to be clean. We're eating to clean out. On my soul, I swear. I'm telling you, my body is full of all type of stuff right now. I've been plant-based 47 years. My body is full of stuff. I guarantee you it is. Just when I drive in, the windows open in the car, what is all that I'm breathing? Who the hell know? You know, you're on the street, you see all that dust on the street. What is that? You know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Daniel, I'm telling you, we're not just eating to get healthy, we eating to stay healthy, we eating to clean out trash. That's why right now I'm drinking cayenne and coconut oil and key lime. Yeah, they destroying the planet. They are destroying the planet. Watch this. Look. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. What it say? Earth is increasingly facing threats from human activity, including the release of toxic chemicals and pollutant into the air, water, and land. These toxins, along with climate change and habitat destruction, are having significant negative impact on the planet's health and human well-being. Straight up. And some of these people that run the planet are old, so they know they're going to pass away. So they just trying to get all the money they can for their family, and they're going to leave the problem for the next generation. People like Trump. Trump 80 something. He almost 80. He like 79, 80. Think he care about the future? No. Him like Elon and them, they feel like they'll just get on a rocket ship and go somewhere else when they tear this up. That's what space exploration is. Try and find another planet where they didn't tow this one up. So that's why we doing all this shilajit, and that's why we taking all these nutrients. That's why we taking in stuff trying to constantly clean our body and combat our body. We taking we eating fruit that's weaker. We eating vegetables that's weaker. We ain't eating the fruits our grandparents had. An orange today ain't nothing compared to an orange when I was a little boy. Robert will tell you, hey, Robert, is an orange today like an orange when you was a little boy when you was 7? Hell no. That's like night and day. A lot of older people, we don't even eat oranges and stuff like that no more. You can't find no grapes with seeds. Anybody see it? Anybody go in the store and see all the grapes with seeds? You can't even find grapes with seeds. You can barely find a watermelon with seeds. Barely. On my soul. That's why I say going plant-based, going vegan, that ain't about no living no long time. It would be nice, but we so much surrounded. We just trying to have a good quality of life. We can't guarantee no long life, but we can guarantee, I ain't in dialysis. I ain't got cancer. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can guarantee. To not just jump out the window and just destroy ourselves, to constantly be fighting. I'm constantly fighting to stay healthy. If I ate bad, I wouldn't be fighting. I would be adding to my destruction along with the planet. The Babylon system and the industrial era and the scientific people is already trying to destroy me. And then if I went and ate trash and they trying to destroy me, I wouldn't have a chance in hell. We wouldn't have no chance because they don't care. So if we didn't care, it'd be a double whammy. Think about it. If you ain't trying to eat better and trying to fight this stuff, and then they ruining everything, what kind of chance would you have? That's why young people getting diabetes in their 30s. So look, thanks. Support the channel, right? Because I need all the support I can get, because what we doing is totally against the system. But one thing I can say, YouTube is letting us do what we do. So, shout out to them for still, they got to make their money. They fighting against the beast too. So, they still let us come out here with the message. And if you got a righteous message, you should be on social media trying to push some type of righteous message. Because we ain't going to get on ABC, NBC, or CBS, CNN. They ain't going to let us on there. So we got to use this social media to try to save people. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to save people. We're trying to save people. We're trying to help y'all eat better. All right. So stay positive, eat better. Make sure you get other people subscribe over here. Eat to live, don't live to eat. All right. All right. Go vegan and victory.